Hello everyone, welcome to the 12th tutorial in this series of Complete Guide to React.js. In this tutorial, I'm going to explain you topics with respect to granularity of functional components, and we are also going to visit what is children properties, which I was uncovered in the previous topic. So in order to explain about the granularity, I'm going to create a new folder inside source like this. I'm just going to give a name as a login, and inside this login folder I'm going to create another file named login.js. So like any other functional components, at first I want to return some HTML elements in this login.js. So what I would do is I can write a variable name, say I'm going to give it as a login, and which equal to, I can give it as function. I can mention like this and return it. And this is a way of representing the function class to the login is present in the ES5 JavaScript. But it is recommended whenever you are using React.js, you have to use next generation JavaScript, which is nothing but ES6. So in ES6, instead of function, what you have to do is you have to write an anonymous function, and you have to give an arrow mark, and inside this you have to put some curly braces. So those were all the persons that who are not aware of ES6 and next generation JavaScript. I'm planning to create a new set of tutorials in future to know like what is ES6 JavaScript and next generation JavaScripts, so they'll be aware of like what we'll be doing in the React.js. But that is something like in nearby future. So as of now in ES6 JavaScript, just think that like we used to return a function on a variable, uh, like this. You can also do it like this. So as of now, think like that. So what you can do is I'm going to return a component, HTML component. I'm saying it as an HTML, but it is not an HTML. It is a React element. But in this tutorial, we will take up things to be easy as considered as HTML element. I'll go ahead and tell that as a HTML element. So I'm going to return a paragraph. Say, for example, please login. Okay. So I have written some function that returns an HTML element, which is nothing but React. So in order to be a React, what you need to do, you need to import React as mentioned in the previous tutorial. Import React from React, and by doing this alone is not enough. You also have to export the class so that it is seen in the other JS. It is accessible to the other JSX file. So export default login. I'm just going to give the name login as well. So I'm going to use this in app.js in order to use it. So what I need to do? At first, I need to import it. Import the login, whichever I have created, from dot slash, which is a relative path. Login is a folder name, and inside that, I have created a JavaScript named login. And it should be login.js, but it is understandable. It is not mandatory to choose login.js over here. You can all just write login. It would refer that login.js, which is with this present over here. And over here, one important thing is this particular element, which is shown over here, right? Login. L should be in capital over here, and it can be a different name. You can type any other name. It is just a reference over here. Consider as an object. It is being referred over here. So you can mention different other name as well, but make sure the first letter is capital, and then only React would understand that. So in order to show it over here, what I need to do is I need to include this login element over here. Okay, so I'm closing it, saving it. Let's see what happens. It is returning the content whichever that we have typed in the login. Please login like that, right? So in real time, what happens is, say for example, I'm creating any React applications or any profile or any React app. So all this contents, right? Each and every login contents as different components. Means, say for example, in this functional app, I am returning the login component over here, and it is getting displayed. Say for example, if I need to use this login somewhere else, in some other application, in some other main components, I can also do it. How I can do it is by including this login alone. And how to verify that? I can just put login multiple times, and you can see that many number of times that login would be displayed. So this is one of the greatest advantage, and this is called as a granularity in your program. Say for example, in future, if you want to create a variable, or if you want to create an applications having segregating all those parts into a components, what you need to do is you need to create another folder or another file, and in that file you can return some functional components like this under a variable, or you can mention it as a constant as well. It is nothing going to differ. If it is nothing going to differ, you can just mention it as a constant, and this component would be shown in your app.js. So granularity is nothing but you need to make a particular component. You make sure that you don't put all the components over here. Say for example, you are mentioning JSX restrictions or explain. If you think that this particular text, whichever that is written over here, is going to be often reused, put that into a component. That is the way, like in real time, a functional component is get created and it would be reused. In React app, this particular granularity should be there, and this is one of the important thing that I want to keep you guys posted who's referring this tutorial, and hence I'm explaining this in this tutorial. So we'll go to the next topic, which is nothing but children properties. We know what is properties. Properties is nothing but whatever the attributes that is present over here can be replaced. Say for example, I'm going to give an attribute as something as name, and I'm going to give it as Satish, and it would be compiled. But this particular name attribute in login.js, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mention it as an props. So whatever the contents that is passed, right, it would be passed as a functional parameters. So it should be attributes that is mentioned should be passed as a functional parameter. So then in this curly braces, if you put props dot name and click on save, you will find so there is an error. Let's see like what is the error is. It is saying that the div tag is present. The expect corresponding closing for the okay. I have not closed somewhere else Satish over here. Yes, this is what the problem is. So once I click on save, what happens? It tells the first element I have not passed the prop. I mean the last three elements I have not passed the props name, and hence it is just showing us please login. Whereas in the first element it shows please log in Satish. This is nothing but the props name is being passed. Say for example, I'm closing a self tag, whereas if the content is like this, in the sense like I'm closing in an HTML open tag and the close tag, and in between I'm mentioning certain things like I have already logged in. So how this message would be passed? If I just click on save, it is not going to show you anywhere else that I mean whatever the content that I have written is going to show it somewhere else over here. So how to show that message? Whatever the contents that is present in the inside the login attributes, that is getting displayed using props, right? But how I am going to display the contents which is present inside the login HTML login tag itself? So for that is the place where children comes into a picture. So in this, I'm going to include another tag saying that props dot children. So this content would tell or would display what are all the contents that is present in this one. So it is throwing an error. Let's see what is an error. Yeah, as I already mentioned in the previous tutorial, it would return a single parent element, and inside that, if you have a multiple element, like then you should wrap it into a div tag. So div would be considered as a parent, and over here props.children, again you should mention a tag like this, otherwise it would just give you props.children, and you have to put it like this, and then you will see what all the contents that you have written, right? I have already logged in, that would be displayed over here. So I have been explained, please log in Satish is here, and after that it just executes. I have already logged in. Only this as having the children, the other is not having the children, and hence it is not getting displayed. So right click, view inspect element, you will be able to see that there will be an empty paragraph tag for these kind of things, and for this you can able to see the contents would be getting displayed. I'm clicking on the mouse pointer and over here, yeah, so in this I have already logged in is there. In the previous div tag, if you expand it and see, yeah, you will see an empty p tag would be there in this div. Yeah, over here empty p tag is there, whereas this is belongs to this login one, which I have returned from this props.children. So that's all today. Like I just want to explain the granularity and how to use props.children in this tutorial. And please practice it and have an hands-on. And we'll see you in next tutorial with some other topic. Thanks and have a nice day ahead.